So when you're on YouTube, I think that as a creator, you kind of get frustrated when you feel stuck, you feel alone, and ultimately you're like, can I really succeed? And I'm really excited for this live stream because the whole goal that we want to do here is to inspire you by stories and case studies of actual people that have done it. And I'm really grateful that YouTube's blessed my life, and I can't tell you how many times that I say that. I'm actually doing what I love to do, which is, really making a difference in the world in all different aspects. I'm able to coach on YouTube side, but I'm also able to produce a TV show, which is off the charts. And in fact, I was just in New York City, and I never thought that we would actually have kind of our kickoff in Times Square. And we did a Times Square takeover for season 5 of The Chosen, which is really awesome. And we were able to really collaborate with Annie Leibovitz, who's like a world-renowned photographer, and do some amazing, amazing stuff. Now, this all comes from really understanding where you're at and looking how you can actually make it by listening to the right type of device or synergizing and collaborating with the right type of people. So for me, that's what it's all about, and really grateful for YouTube and what it represents. And it's all about opportunity. Now, I'm joined by one of my students, really excited about this one, and I'll let him kind of tell his story. But imagine, taking the risk of starting your own business, and then life hits in one way, and then you're stuck. And that I'm really grateful for that, because I feel like some of us feel like we're stuck, whether you're stuck on YouTube or you're stuck in life or stuck in businesses. And so there's a certain set of things that you can look for that can help catapult you to success. And what I love about his case study is he was able to do it in a short amount of time to get over 3 billion video views and ultimately change the trajectory, not only for his business, but his life and also his family's life. And so that's what it's all about. And I'm really, really grateful to have Pucky on. How you doing, Pucky?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. I am so excited for this for multiple reasons. The first thing is, I saw your content before you became my student, and I was like, man, this guy's like off the wall, wacky. I love it. It's like really good stuff. And so I'm like, okay, we got some bonding going on here. But then two, I thought that you were super strategic in your channel and your content, and so I'm really grateful for you to jump on and take some time in your busy life to share with others. And so, why don't you kind of introduce yourself, what you actually do, and let's get right into it.
Got it. So, yeah, my name is actually Raul Pacheco, better known as Pucky Pacheco on YouTube. I create skits, like comedy skits. I have different characters. I have different stories. Um, and so I create videos that are relatable to my audience, that they can connect with the characters and like day-to-day stuff that they go through. And that's how I'm able to connect right now with my audience.
Yeah, and whereabouts in the world do you live? Like, where are you at?
I'm in Florida right now, but I'm
Yeah, okay.
originally from Puerto Rico. Yeah.
Yeah, Puerto Rico, now in Florida, which is great. And what I love is we can do this worldwide. There's like an audience worldwide. And so there's so many creators here that feel like they're stuck. And I really would love you to kind of start this out with your story of what you're doing day to day. And then you took an opportunity, and then, just kind of the devastation hit. So I'd love to talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So when I started, I didn't know anything about YouTube. I actually started on a whole different niche. It was totally different. I started with tech, like tech reviewing stuff and like different products, Apple, Samsung, whatever. So I started posting on TikTok, actually, different like short form content. Um, but it wasn't really hitting the way I wanted it to hit. And then YouTube Shorts came, and I started posting there. I wasn't really hitting feeling the tech. So I tried to mix it with the comedy a little bit, and that hit a little bit. a little bit.
When you say a little bit,
So
because I think people like will say, okay, a little bit could mean something. So was it like got a couple thousand views, or was it?
yeah, like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, like a little bit more. For context, it took me 2 years to get from 0 to 1,000 subscribers.
Okay,
two
so
years.
2 years,
So
and then were you doing a day-to-day job? Like, were you out and about in the world, or what were you doing there?
yeah, so this was all like 2020, uh in the middle of the pandemic, because I had a business, a t-shirt business, and that failed completely because of course of the pandemic. People were not going out as much, so they didn't like need new clothes. So yeah. But yeah, I started that tech channel in the middle of the pandemic, just to try something else, because I was really thinking about doing YouTube for a long time before
Yeah.
that. um yeah, so when I made the switch to like mix the comedy with the tech, I was feeling the comedy a little bit more, so I just dropped the tech completely and went all in with the comedy. I created characters, I created stories, and I
So
started to see a little bit of growth.
yeah, so I want to talk about that real quick because there's a lot of life moments. So like having a business like not be successful, and you're like, okay, I gotta do something, gotta stay busy, we gotta try something, and so thought content creation could be good, and you went on
Mhm.
TikTok and then YouTube Shorts, and then why tech? Like seriously, out of all the things in the world, like why would you pick one of the most oversaturated niche that's so hard because you have to stay up with it. It's like anytime there's a release, you're
I
either
know.
news channel, they're just barely. I mean, I guess Mister Who's the Boss and does some great stuff, but it's like it's hard. It's
Yeah,
a hard niche. Why would you pick that?
it is. Because that's what I was watching at the time. And I was like, hey, maybe I can do that. Let's try it. And I failed completely.
Okay, so the moment that you tried it, and then it's like, okay, I need to put more of my personality into it, and that's when you're like, okay,
Mhm,
I like to make people laugh. I like to entertain. So what if we start doing entertaining type of tech content?
mhm.
And then you noticed a bump in views, right? There's something that kind of
Yeah,
left,
yes,
leapt forward, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is interesting. Maybe they're not coming for the tech, but they're more commenting on the comedy side. So maybe I should lean in. So this is like this
yeah.
analyzing and adjusting phase. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah, yes. I created a video that was about the little Amazon thing that Apple has, like there were different colors and all of that. And I
Yep.
needed like a character to demonstrate like the different colors that Apple had. So I created a kit character. I gave him like a Mario hat and a really colorful shirt, but
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was all by mistake. That was like like I didn't plan that.
Yeah.
So I just needed a kid character with colorful things, to emphasize the colorful speakers. Um, and then people really connected with the kid character, and that's when I decided to like make the switch from the tech to the comedy, because I was like, people are not connecting when I upload a video about tech, but they really enjoy when I just like when I'm just me, when I'm funny, when I interact with different characters and I create stories, and I just went all in on that.
Yeah, I love that because it's like there's so many people that I've worked with and or helped along the way, and it's like the moment that they kind of have an epiphany of I really enjoy this,
Hmm.
not just because it's getting views, but I actually really enjoy this, and they take the bold step of saying, okay, this is consistent, this is stuff that I love and watch, but I more enjoy this as a creator, and sometimes it's like an accident that they analyze, oh my gosh, there is this connection, with the crazy hat, the bright shirt, and this character that was developed. Well, what happens if we kind of do more with that? And I think that's kind of where a lot of content creators either do that too much in the sense that they're always changing and they're always saying, "Oh no, I'm trying this," and before you know it, they're
Mhm.
over here, over there, or whatever, instead of really giving it the chance to succeed. And that's where I want to kind of talk about that, is because the chance to succeed is like, how long would you have given it, before you changed it? Because like you did tech, and you're like, okay, let's add some comedy into it. Now you went this whole completely different direction. um, you
Yeah.
know, like there's too many creators from my point of view that make rash decisions instead of really understanding the audience. Like what gave you confidence to lean into this type of content?
Um, it's interesting because people will tell you to like be you online, always be your true self, like who you are. But when I opened the tech channel, I thought that was like who I was. Like I'm watching tech every day, so maybe I can try that. That's who I am. But I was completely wrong. As I started creating and posting, I'm like, I'm not a tech reviewer. That's
Yep.
not who I am. So you first have to know yourself, and sometimes you have to make mistakes in order to learn about yourself a little bit more. Because sometimes if you don't make mistakes, you don't know your limitations. You don't know what you like.
Yep.
So I just started recording and posting, and that took me to like a different journey. And then I was like, okay, I think I know what I like now. I know which direction I want to go. So that's what I did. I just dumped the whole tech and started creating what I liked.
Yeah. And I think that's the key, because I think a lot of people will do it because like, oh, this niche will be good. It has really high CPMs, and something that I know there will get some views, right? And they do
Mhm.
it, but they're not in love with it. They're not in love as a
Yeah,
content creator to do it. And so there's that disconnect
yeah,
where, it feels very grueling, and you can see it in the content. You can literally see it in the content. You're like, okay, they don't like
yeah,
their job. Like at the end of the
yeah,
day, they
yep.
don't like their job. And so for me, I love what I do, and so anytime I can talk YouTube, I love it. I like wake up and I'm like, okay, we got to talk YouTube. We got to talk strategy. We got to talk that other. And so I think that's kind of be innate in people. And it could be
Mhm.
just I like to be entertaining. I like to be creative. I like to get people to laugh. And that's kind of the when you wake up in the morning, love that. And so it's like creating that combination, and then you might bring in niches that you might not be as enamored with, but it's around the comedy aspect of it, of bringing that value. And so I just see that a
Mhm.
lot of content creators struggle with this. And so if you're here
Mhm.
struggling, put it in the comments, because I think we can all relate in one way or another. But what you got to do is you got to be able to wake up in the morning and you're just like, okay, I got to make a video today. Like you got to be like that. And so, did your family notice a huge change in your presence, like once you moved over from tech just to entertainment? I think I lost him.
Yeah, but heck,
Okay, there we go.
yeah, they stayed. They stayed. Some of them, other like the majority of my audience, just of course, I went from tech to comedy, but some of them stayed, and I still get comments today about my tech journey. It's like, who's here from the tech era of
Right.
Pucky Pacheco, and I even get comments on my first video, like the tech. I reviewed an iPad, and people just go comment there like, yeah, a legend was born here, or oh, this is funny. Bucky was a tech reviewer before he was. It's like-
Yeah.
that's why I haven't deleted those videos, because I really enjoy the comments people are leaving on those videos right now.
I think it's like, I think it's bad to delete videos in the sense of your journey, because like people can go back and see the iterations
Mhm.
of. But
Yeah.
and so many people are like, oh no, it's gonna bring the wrong audience. Well, not really. You're gonna actually see that if they're not getting views, they're not getting consistent views. The YouTube doesn't even look at
Mhm.
that data. But what you don't want to do is kind of just delete your history. You know, I think you can if
Hmm.
you're really
Yeah,
protective about your brand, but the reality is like I love to see the evolution of, which is great. Um,
exactly. Yeah.
so when you started to make this more entertaining content, I know that you have a family and a kid. Did they like, oh, this is a good
Mhm.
video versus like, I don't like your videos, Dad. Your videos are cringe. Or what was their reaction when you just really started to fall in love with content creation?
Yeah, my wife was a little like skeptical. She was like, "Wait, what are you doing now? Are you gonna wear that hat to make a video?" I'm like, "Yeah, why?" It's like, I don't know. This has nothing to do with tech. But my kid was loving the new content. He was like, "Oh, I like this character, Dad." So I was like, "Okay, my if I'm doing comedy, I have to look at my son, see
That's right.
his reaction. Yeah, before I post. He was often my first like a filter. Like if he
Mm.
loved it, it was gonna do great. If he went like and then looked away and then looked back and then looked away,
You
I'm
know, like,
like, this is
okay,
not
we either
gonna
need to
be.
re-edit or reshoot something, right?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's still to this day. Sometimes he as I'm editing, he stands right next to me, and if he stays, then it's gonna be a good video. If he
Yeah,
leaves, it's like, oh, I need to change something.
you got to get
I'm not
something.
grabbing. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I love that for multiple reasons because I think that sometimes content creators kind of get in their own lane and like, if I love it, the world's going to love it, right? And
yeah.
they don't see, well, where's the value proposition, and then two, even though you enjoy creating the content, you need to be able to really consider who's watching it and kind of engage them, whether either storytelling or juxtaposition or whatever. It's just like, how do we pull people
Mhm.
in? And for me, I've done this so much where when I go, when I'm launching a new channel or doing a new project, like we always put content together, and then I like to watch people and exactly how you did in the sense of, oh, if they lost interest, I'm like, where did they lose interest and why? And I'm asking those questions too. It's like, if I can have a better understanding of human reaction to the content, then I know how to make better videos. And then
Yeah.
two, there might be a point where it's not building to something, or we take too big of a left turn or a right turn on something that
Mhm.
it should only be maybe 5 seconds or 10 seconds, and then bring them back into the storyline. And so when I want to pull up a graph. I want everyone to see this, and you're going to see the journey of his tech, and then you can see when he kind of leaned in. So this is, let's see, here we go. Here we go. So you have 3.1 billion views, and you had a little bit of traffic beforehand. You had a little bit of traffic in
Mhm.
2001, and then it kind of died down, and then it just kind of popped off there. When did you know that you had something that you loved, and you're like, okay, I understand the content strategy. I know what to do here. Like, when did that hit?
Um, when I started, my main fear was going viral before I knew what I was doing, and that's exactly what happened. I was creating all this like characters and different stories and different funny videos, but I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know my audience. I didn't know who I was targeting. I didn't know where my audience was coming from, so I just started throwing a bunch of ideas to the wall. And luckily, some of them did really, really well. And that's how I went from like 80K to a million in like 4 months. Because I was doing so many videos, I was posting 1 to 2 shorts a day.
Yeah.
But that was like back in 2021. But I didn't know. I was just like, okay, I like this. Let me just do it. I like this. Let me just do it. I like this. Let me just. And some of them hit really well. But
And when you say
after
hit
a
really well, you're
while,
talking
my
millions of views or hundreds of thousands of views. Like, where did it hit really
hundreds
well?
of thousands, yeah, yeah. Because I went from like 2K, 3K, 5K to like 100K
Yep.
200K, 500K. Some of them even got to a million.
Yeah. Now
Um,
let's talk about that because I think
mhm.
there's a lot of people that don't know how to analyze their data. So when you saw a video that got to 100K and you're only doing 10K, what was your thought process? Do I need to do more stuff like that, or was that just kind of a fluke? Was it like a one-off? Like what did you feel?
Yeah, back then I sometimes double down, but like 2 to 3 times. That's it, and then I stopped. It was like, okay, that was like a really successful idea, but I'm not just gonna keep repeating it because I don't know, people are gonna get tired. So I stopped. The only one that I kept doing was a story I had, a series that was kids travel through time. I was like a series I started and just kept repeating it
Yep.
because I loved it. But eventually started to die down because the story was so like advanced that people were lost because they
Yep.
didn't know what was happening.
So let's talk about that because I think a lot of creators think, I think they're misunderstanding the viewership on YouTube. And so the first one would
Mhm.
be is the first common mistake that I think creators make is, oh, they already saw my video,
Mhm.
or they understand what's going on. And so doing a long story like that, it's like, oh, they've already seen all the stuff and they're going to be consuming with it. When that's not necessarily the case. Like they might have
Mhm.
watched the video, but they don't know what's going on. And so
Yeah.
I I love what Marquise Brownlee said many years ago, and it was like that. It's like, hey, you got to just remember that when someone's watching your video, they're watching it for the first time. I don't care if they've been watching me for 10 years, 15 years. It's like they're watching for the first time. You can't just assume that they watch the content, you know.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much because it's like, oh, you're just really going after the potential viewer, and there's ways to tell the story. There's ways to connect to really bring them along with you, or get caught up, or tease them that you've done other content without deviating too much from the storyline. And
Yeah.
so this series idea, you loved it, and you're just kind of beating that drum, and you're doing it, and then you notice that the views went down.
Mhm.
Now knowing what you know now, why do you think the views went down? Was it the content strategy or the content release strategy? You think?
Um, I was only uh, paying attention to the story, what I wanted to do, not really if my audience watched the previous video or not, or not treating each video as a like as an individual video. Like maybe people didn't see this one, so I can't say on the next video stuff that happened in the last video, but they don't know what's going on.
Right.
So people got lost, and the views, you can see the views starting to decline a little bit on my channel. Um, so I was also lost. I'm like, but this is a really good series. I don't know what's going on. I'm spending all of this time editing, all of this time writing. It's a good story. I don't know what's going on. So yeah,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, that I think a lot of us can agree at one time or another. We were like, okay, I don't know. I thought I knew what I was doing. I was getting views,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and I went in on it, and now I don't know if I know what I'm doing because it's like whatever I try doesn't seem to work.
yeah.
I love it. I do believe though.
That
Oh, go ahead.
the bad thing about that is that you start comparing yourself to other creators. And so I started comparing myself to other creators doing like almost the same thing. And I started watching. I was like, why are they doing good? I'm not. Like, I don't understand. So it can get pretty mental. Like you can get in your head a lot if you're not careful. Um, so yeah, it's pretty dangerous to be a little lost.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of weight on a solo content creator, right? There's a lot of weight of like coming up with the idea. editing, going
Yeah.
through that process, and then when you put that creation up, not seeing the views that you thought you'd get, it's like it's almost at the moment of like, what am I doing? I put so much time and thought into this, and they're not
Hmm.
responding. And
Yeah.
so I think the big thing would be is how do you stay motivated with that? Was there a point where you're like I don't get it. Like, should I do something else, or is it more, oh no, I just need to figure this out?
Yeah, content creation to me is something that I'm not gonna give up on because I gave up on so many things in my life. Like you might not know this, but I was a gymnast. Almost went to the 2008 Olympics, so I
Oh
gave that
wow,
up
I
because it
did
got
not
too
know
hard.
that.
Um, yeah, yeah,
So now
yeah.
that actually makes a little bit of clarity with some of the stuff that you do in your videos. I'm like, okay, I can see that.
Yeah, yeah, yep. I did judo for a while. I gave that up. Um, I went to school for graphic design. I gave that up, and then obviously the t-shirt business. Like it wasn't that I gave it up, but it
Yeah,
was the pandemic. So content creation to me is like, no, this is it. You're gonna do this or do this. You're gonna figure it out. You're not
love it,
gonna give it up. Yeah.
love it. And when did you feel like, okay, now I get it? Like, what part of your journey that you feel like, okay, I now know the direction of where I'm going. I feel like when I do get an idea that it's going to respond really well, that you know which one's going to be bangers, and you have a high success rate of predicting with that. When did you kind of figure things out?
Um, it was pretty recent. Last year, I was as lost as ever. During the summer, I was like, I plateaued like completely. I wasn't either going up or going down, plateaued completely. And then I got a tweet from you. Um, and and then I went to VidSummit. That opened my whole brain. Like my brain exploded. When I came back from there, I was like, okay, so I know which direction. I know what I have to do to be able to grow my channel. So I met a lot of really good people at VidSummit. I like it was the best. I think there's a before and after in my channel, like before VidSummit, after VidSummit. And then I learned about Channel Jumpstart. Um, and the very first, um, like when you talked about the audience and uh, like knowing your audience, I think is the best thing for a creator because if you don't know who you're targeting, if you don't know who's watching your videos, then you're never gonna know what you're gonna create, what they're gonna if they're gonna like it or not. Like that to me, that was the main thing. Knowing your audience, creating an avatar. Like this is my avatar right here. This is who I'm talking to. This is what he likes. This is what he don't likes. This is what he does on a daily basis. This
Mm,
is his day. So he gets on his phone to watch my videos at this time because of this. Um, and then also the recon and research was also huge because as a creator sometimes you get stuck. You don't know what's trending. You don't know what people are consuming. If you don't know that, then you're gonna get stuck because you can always do so much. um but yeah, those two things were the catapult to be able to do what I'm doing now. That every single video I create can cross the million easy. Some
yeah,
of them are like experiments where I experiment, I post it, and if it doesn't do good, then okay, that was a bad idea. And if it does great, then I keep doing it, repeating it. Different concepts, but just repeating the same idea because I know people are gonna like it because it worked in the past. So
Yeah.
um,
So you
yeah,
gave
so that's where I am
you
right
gave
now.
so much. There's so much gold here, and I want everyone that just listened to this is what he just said is the difference of succeeding or not from my point of view.
Hmm.
And I've worked with thousands of people, thousands of creators, and it's like those that really have a good understanding of who their viewer is and are looking to bring value. That is the key. And it's like, when are you bringing value? At the time of the day, like what are they really looking for? And there's
Yeah.
so much to that. And I know when we talked, when on Twitter, and then kind of led to VidSummit and all this other stuff, it was this, and this is what I found was you're really really good at creating content, but you really sucked at realizing who your audience was. I mean, that's what was going on, and I'm like, okay, because I
Yeah.
know you can figure
Yeah.
this out. I know you can figure it out,
Yeah.
and too many people are like, no, I need to do it this way or whatever. But what you did was like, no, I'm here to learn. This is my life. This is my business. This is what I want. And so the
Yeah.
moment that you're like saying, okay, I'm not going to be reactive to say who likes my content and I'll figure them out. No, no, no. You did it proactive in the sense of, no, I know who my viewer is currently right now. And
Hmm.
based on the data, and there's no other platform that does this. I'm telling you, no other platform that does this but YouTube. YouTube's the best when it comes to give you this analytical data of realizing, oh, I'm starting to see these patterns that when I do this, we get this high engagement rate and we get these high, tens of connection, or they go deeper into it. And then it's just more, oh, well, what is that? Who is that audience in that vein? And then two, when you start anticipating, oh, what works, that's great. But you said the most important thing after you understand your audience, you're doing recon and research because it's hard to really understand the landscape of how things are changing, but to
Hmm.
experiment. And I'm here to tell you, if you're not experimenting as a creator, you're going to plateau. And that's what happened in the beginning with your tech. That's what
Hmm.
happened in the beginning with your tech and your comedy. You hit this plateau point, and if you would have never experimented, you would have never been where you're at today.
Hmm.
And I do believe in that. I think you need to do it. Now, I don't believe in like a 90-10 ratio of 90% experiment, 10% constant. It's in fact flipped. I maybe 10%, maybe 5% of your content
Hmm.
should be an experiment. In your
Yeah.
case, I think you can do it a little bit higher where as long as you keep the certain parameters, you can experiment a little bit more. But
Hmm.
if you're not experimenting, then you don't win. And then two, I want everyone to understand this. If Pucky would have just experimented and says it didn't work and didn't lean into it, and when we go through like an experimental phase, it's like you do multiple videos, not just one, multiple videos. He wouldn't have seen some of his experiments that were really bangers because sometimes it takes a little bit more time to get out
Hmm.
there data wise to find that right type of audience that would love all the content you're currently doing right now, but it's just like more coming in through that phase. And
Yeah.
so, would you kind of take everyone through the process of, and I want to break it into this one. I'm going to show a graph real quick, and these are your lifetime shorts. No, wait, this is your lifetime videos. Let me get. Hold on, I had the wrong one coming up. Here's your lifetime shorts. And nope, nope, that's the lifetime views. Okay, there it is. Let me do the there it is with lifetime with shorts. Okay, so on the shorts itself, you can kind of see the trajectory up, and you can see the different times, and you're really on this momentum. After basically the beginning of the year, the end of the year, you started seeing momentum come up in that. Would you talk just for a minute on your strategy of how do you experiment and it's a winner, and then when do you roll it into long form? Because when I go into the long form, let me see. I must have not. No, here it is. Here it is. Found it. Here it is. Okay. I'm now seeing that a lot of your long form videos are starting to pop off now. And
Hmm.
when we're looking at YouTube recommending your content, you had 42% coming from the YouTube homepage and browse feature, which is homepage and subscription feed. But then you're having a high click through rate on suggested videos too. So I'd love to kind of talk about that because I think, your strategy right now of experimenting, validating, and then amplifying. You want to just take a minute on
Yeah,
that?
yeah. So what I do right now is I take a video in the 90 days that is really working. I take that and I'll try to do it again. And by do it again, I mean taking that concept, that idea, and doing it again. Example: I have I guess you can say a series, but it's really a bucket. It's called "Made of Something." So I take that idea, I make it made of candy, made of cardboard, made of I don't know, like Minecraft, whatever. So I just start repeating that idea, and right now I'm at video number 6 or 7 of the same concept. Um, and they all work because it is it's a guarantee, because people, every time I post, they watch and they want to see more. And now I start to get ideas in the comments. It's like, hey, next, do like made of ice or made of bubbles or made
Yep.
of. So people are giving me ideas to create videos that are going to work. So that's when I started to see that momentum going up, because I started creating those concepts and repeating it over and over again. So I'm never gonna run out of ideas because I get comments on
Right.
those videos, and also I'm gonna keep going up because people want to see more and they stay longer watching those videos.
Yeah. So let me kind of explain this for everyone what's going on. So this concept is what we call buckets in the YouTube formula, and it's also in marketing too. It's like a content bucket. It's like when you have the same structure. Okay, so that you know that when you start a video, it's going to keep the same structure. The only difference would be is the what. Like what makes it different. And so made of fill in the blank, that would be a bucket and a series. Now, what's more predictable than anything else for humans is they like the structure of it and the surprise and delight, because the surprise and delight, you're not going to do every video the same because then it would just be boring,
Mhm,
right? But it's just like, no, what are
mhm,
we going to make? How are we going to make this uniquely its own? And that's where I believe that's where you really excel on that. Is like, okay, it is they keeping the same structure. There is that surprise and delight that brings value, but they feel like they're a part of it, and they're like, do this next. And when you see kind of the thread comments, and you're like, oh my gosh, it'll be so great, blah 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 blah. It doesn't mean that you immediately do it, but it's like, oh, this is a great idea. This would actually
mhm,
be a wealth of it. But if I only did that every time I released a video, you would plateau again, right? It's just like you can
mhm.
only do so much of
Yep,
that. So what you said
yep,
of, oh, I'm going to try it for 90 days and see if it has legs. If it does have legs, then we can lean into it a little bit more. But if you do it every single video, then you're going to lose focus of growth,
yeah,
because there will be a point where
yeah.
you've reached your audience and you're not going to get any new audience, and then it's going to start to stagnate and you're going to have attrition. And so
Mhm.
tell me, how does that inspire your long form? Because I love shorts. I'm a consumer of shorts, have been for a very long time. But I had this love hate relationship because a lot of early on when YouTube was doing shorts, it was clunky and there was like a disconnect with the platform, because the platform's so big. To bring in a new feature like this is so hard. But about a year and a half ago, it just seems like to be hitting on all cylinders. And in fact, so much so, I think right around this last fall, I just noticed that it's a catapult now,
Mhm.
where people that do shorts is catapulting to discovery in long form. And so, could you just take a minute? Like we have, let me go here. I think it was this. Give me one right here. Some of your ideas that you're doing for long form? Is it just like compilation driven, or when do you know, oh, this is good enough for a long form? Because long form is going to take a little bit more time, so you and your team need to
Mhm.
put in a little bit more energy on it. When do you know when to take it from a short idea to a long form?
When I see that the concept idea works and it has worked multiple times, I'll take that short and those shorts, and then I'll just put the one that is the most popular in the beginning of the video. of the if it's a compilation, put
Yeah,
it in
yeah,
the beginning of the video, and then after that, the one that got like the second most views, and so on. And that's what I've been doing. Is really working. And then right now I'm working on making those ideas, but making a long form out of it. That's what I'm working right now. That's my focus right now in 2025 is to take all of those ideas that are guaranteed to work and just put a little bit of meat on it and make it a long form. So
yep.
that I'm working on a concept like magic tutorial, where I'm gonna take those shorts that really really worked and just making it into a long form.
Yeah. And I think that's where it is. It's like, I think a lot of people are like, oh no, I'm just a shorts creator. And that's fine. But what you're able to do is like use that as an experiment that you validated.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, okay, this one really can work really well. And you put it at the beginning of a long form video, regardless if it's compilation or not. And it works, and
Mm-hmm.
you're getting that retention and the views. But more
Yeah.
importantly, what I love is that YouTube realizes that the audience is watching shorts would actually
Mm-hmm.
watch the long too, and so it's starting to
Yeah.
recommend based on their viewership. And so this is where I'm really applaud the YouTube team because they figured it out. They figured out okay how to
Yeah.
discover this and how to have it cross over where it does make sense. And so seeing what your content is now, I'm going to pull up just kind of your shorts feed real quick. Let me do this real quick. And okay, yeah. So here's your channel. You can start seeing, all the views that you're getting here and the way that it is engaging and so on and so forth. And then two, now with your journey into it, you can see that you took even the thumbnail strategy. It's like taking the screenshots, not the screenshot, but the idea from the shorts and putting it in it, so it looks like it's a
Mm-hmm.
progressive thing. Is
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal, phenomenal. And we didn't even cover. We didn't even cover the language. I don't know if everybody's assuming that you're doing everything in English. I guess now you can tell us in Spanish. There we go. We got some Spanish going on here. Um, but and I want to talk about your efforts of expanding outside of the Spanish market. But why focus all in on Spanish in the beginning? Like what was the rationale? What was the reasoning behind that? And then two, I know that there's a lot of people that I never want to do that because it's not the higher CPMS and I'm not making as much money
Mm-hmm.
in that. Would you kind of cover that real quick? Because I think it's a very important topic for a lot of people that are on here.
Yeah, so Spanish is my first language, so I'm a lot more comfortable creating content in Spanish because yeah, even though I've been here for in Florida for 20 years, Spanish is still like my main my first language. And I also wanted uh to teach my son Spanish through my videos because he was going to learn English in school anyways. So if he was watching my videos, I wanted him to be in like Spanish. So it's kind of like more of a sentimental thing, more than a strategic thing. Because like I said in the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. Um, but yeah, to me that's really the main reason why.
Yeah. But I noticed too, though, your content doesn't necessarily I think it's more of an international piece of content. Like,
Mhm.
I believe some of the best creators of all time is like Buster Keaton and Charlie Chapman, and that's what it kind of reminds me of. It's like it has that flavor where there's a broad appeal because of the language of the body movement and reactionary
Yeah,
type stuff.
yeah.
That's more universal, and I know that there's more people than just that is watching your content, but for me and anyone that has coached with me and is trying to do English and English is their second language, I always say, why don't you do it in your native tongue? Why not? Like, why are we trying to force it? You
Mhm.
could own it. I had some students that came on and they wanted to do straight English. I'm like, dude, you're French. Like own it. Like no one else. There's no one else in the world that's
Yeah.
owning it. and they're like, okay, they go
Exactly.
all in, and now they're the biggest French YouTubers on the freaking planet. It's just like, okay, great,
Yep.
and the opportunities around it. It's like the world's so vast, and so the
Hmm.
opportunity is so big, and so I do believe that every language, if it's your first language, you should do your first initial content in that language. However, that being
Yeah.
said, I do believe that you should localize it after that, and I want to talk about
Mhm.
that too. But when you decided, hey, this is working, this is fantastic. I'm starting to see the opportunities when it comes to my own channel. How did you actually start growing your team? Because right now, I know that you have an amazing videographer. I think he's even on this chat. I was kind of trolling him a little bit in the chat, um, but how did you start growing? How did you start growing your team? Like, what did you start looking at? Because you realize, oh, for me to keep up with this content, I actually need a team because I can't do it all.
Mhm. Yeah. So I think it was last year I started like burning out a lot. Not because I wasn't enjoying it, it's because I was doing too much. I started like translating into English. I started recording. I started setting up everything, editing, writing, analytics. Like I was doing everything by myself, and I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. I need to start like reaching out to people because I'm really bad at delegating. I like to do everything myself. I wish I could just like clone myself. Um,
Yeah, it
but
doesn't
I
work
had
that
to
way, man.
change that.
Doesn't work
Yeah,
that
I
way.
had to change that. I had to change that mentality. And I
Yeah,
was like, okay, if you really want to grow, like if you have a limit right now, you're at your limit. If you want to go past that, you need people.
yep,
Like there's no way around it. So I started looking out, reaching out to different people, different sites, and yeah, I found someone that is really, really he's great. He's great.
I think he I think
Right
he
now,
adds to it. Like when I look at it, I think
yes,
he adds to
yeah,
it instead of takes away from it. So like here's
yeah,
my advice to give content creators. And I think I gave you this advice too. It's like you can't do everything, but if you can
mhm,
find someone that can do it 80% as good as you, then you win. And then the
yeah,
reason why, if it's only 80%, that's great. And you're like, well, wait, what? No, because like if that's their only responsibility, they're going to do it 110% or 200% better than you, because they have more time, have more focus, and more energy on it, right? So it's like there is a
yeah,
great opportunity, and so if they can get 80% there, that's great, and then you can focus in on the stuff that you're good at,
yeah.
which they can't do, and that's where it's like building a team. And so, how did that transform you as a content creator? Because I know that you're kind of getting burned out, and then you had that onboarding, and then like, how did that kind of change your velocity of what you're able to do, and the freedom that it created you in that realm when you hired them?
Yeah, so now it gave me more time to spend on the writing, which is the most important thing. The writing and the research, the like everything before recording, that's the most important part. Because if you're gonna record something and you don't know what you're gonna do, it's like, all right, let me just wing this and improvise whatever.
You,
So
you know
the
you know how I feel
planning
about that,
is
right?
the planning like is really important to me. So the
Yeah,
the writing is really important to me.
yeah,
So yeah, so sometimes even if we're recording, he says something that adds to the video, but that's adding to it, not really
yeah.
like doing everything as we're shooting. Um, so yeah, it freed the time for me to take time and really think about what I'm doing. Um, and then now I just need an editor. I'm looking for an editor right now to be able to like either mimic what I'm doing or kind of like do almost the same thing. So to be able to do other things because I want to do merch. I want to
Yep.
keep
Only if you
translating
knew
my
how to
videos
design
into
T-shirts, that would be great. I joke because you had a t-shirt company, so this is going to be full circle, which is great.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so let's talk about the edit because I think content creators like, no, that's part of my creation process. I can't let that go, and I can't tell you how many times I'm like, you got to let it go.
Hmm.
You can still speak into it and have that fill like that is your responsibility as a creator, but you don't
Yeah.
necessarily need to do that heavy lift because that's where it takes a lot of time. Like to get that, right. It just takes so much time. And so, when someone's looking for people to help, I think it's just more who can contribute and where do they contribute. And I think you made a very specific thing. You did all the work prior, and then adding to is great. And
Yeah.
so, I think content creators can really learn from that. And then too, my rule has always been you got to do everything in pre-production. Pre-production will make your production so much better that if it's
Yeah.
smoother in production, you have time for what? You have time to experiment, or you can ad lib. Say, okay, we got what we needed, what we planned to do. We got what we needed. Now let's do a couple segments, here or there, that we can kind of improvise. And sometimes that's kind of like that gold that just kind of adds to that content just because you have the
Mhm.
structure, you know what you get, but then you have a little bit of element where you thought, oh wait, I never really thought about it this way. Now that we're producing it, if we did it this way, that might be better. And boom,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
So cool.
So,
Go ahead.
oh no, yeah, I was gonna say that the editor is just for to me to have more time to like because I want to expand. I want to
Yep.
go as grow as big as I can. So I'm doing right now different languages. I have English, I have Portuguese, I have Japanese, and then of course Spanish.
Yep.
So yeah, that's gonna free more time to me to
Let,
like
let's
expand and
talk
grow.
about that. Let's talk about that real quick because you know how passionate I am about localization.
Mhm.
And for me, I had kind of the reverse thing. So I lived in America, and then when I was 19 years old, I put my life on hold and went to South America to Paraguay. And my first area, I was like learning Spanish and stuff. They didn't even speak Spanish. They spoke a language called Guarani, and so I had to learn that language and then learn some Spanish and then that whole thing. And then I realized, man, there's so much opportunity to go from there. And then two, contextually, what some things just don't translate. Some things don't work
Hmm.
across. And I
Yeah.
applaud YouTube's efforts to do the dubbing and the auto dubbing, but the auto dubbing right now is really horrible. And the reason why I think it's horrible is because it sometimes switches from a male voice to a female voice for the creator, and I'm like that's not very good for the brand. And so I have all these content
Hmm.
creators that are turning it off just because it's like, dude, it's my brand. Like you're hurting my
Hmm.
brand by having it
Yeah.
respond to or whatever, and they'll get it better. They'll figure it out. But a couple years ago, just because of the project that I'm doing with the Chosen, I'm like, I need to go to localize. And in fact, I've been doing localization on YouTube for like 8+ years. And so we started to do a tool that you started to use called Ditodub. And you can find a link in the description below about this. But kind of explain that. Why did you take the steps to start localizing in English and Japanese and the different languages? And what was the results that you're able to see from that?
In the beginning, I started learning Japanese because I really wanted to translate in Japanese. But I'm like, this is gonna take me 5+ years. This is not possible. So I started looking for different tools, and even I think I went on Fiverr to look for like translators in Japanese. I'm like, okay, this is not gonna work. So I stumbled across Diddle Dub, and I tried it, and in the beginning was a little bit, but now it's like after I don't know what you did, I don't know what they did. The Ditto
Yeah,
team is doing a great job
yeah,
because it's my voice.
yeah,
I just upload the video, and I even showed my wife. I told her, is this like, does this sound like me? Like, yeah, where did you like? How did you do that? I'm like, no, this is a diddle dumb, an AI tool. It's like she's
Yeah.
like, that's you. You speak Japanese.
Yeah,
And then
we
I
had
just
we had a goal. We had a goal,
yeah
which is keep the creator's intent and
mhm,
have the creator's emotion, but also the intent of. And so the goal is always to be sound like the creator, keep the intent, and keep the way that they communicate. And I'm
yeah
telling you, it's been a couple years of developing it, and the team that we have that we pulled together to do it. They're just some of the most
yeah.
amazing talent that's out
It's
there,
great.
and it's great to see content creators use it and really succeed. But the bigger thing is when you watch something in Japanese or English or Spanish, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is literally a multi-language
Mhm.
opportunity where I can start growing my audiences. Did you notice that you started seeing the views come in? And then, like, when did that actually happen? What did it actually look like?
So yeah, I have different channels because I don't have the multi language thing yet.
Yeah,
Um, so I just started Portuguese channel, Japanese channel. Um, in the beginning, it was my audience watching the videos. I'm like, no, this is not for you. This is in Japanese because they saw that I had the featured channels on my main channel, so they went there to check it out. But now I see that 90, I think is 95% of the audience is coming from Japan.
yeah,
Like I see Japanese comments, I see I have to translate the comments because
yeah,
I don't know what it says. And the same thing happened with my Portuguese channel. I started seeing like my audience going there, but now it's like coming from Brazil, Portugal, and I see the comments now, and those channels are growing pretty fast. My Japanese is brand new and it has almost 10K
that's
subscribers.
so great.
The Portuguese, I think it has. I completely forgot. I have so many numbers in my brain. Um, but yeah, and the English one is growing pretty good. So now the other one that I want to do is Hindi
Yeah.
for
So,
India. I
and
know that
I can tell you
that's
right
gonna do
now,
pretty well.
I can tell you right now. One of the big things that I always look for is like how is YouTube different than TV and dubbing? And so Hindi's not good to do. I'm here to tell you, okay, it's not good to do because they don't do it on YouTube. What they do is Hinglish. So it's like a little bit of Hindi, a little bit of
Ah,
English. So make sure when you do it, we actually developed the
mm,
model for that. So it's all English driven.
I
So
saw it. I saw
yeah,
it. Yes.
that's one you need to do. Not Hindi. That's for their grandparents. But the English is
Okay,
what
got it.
everybody's watching YouTube is. So,
That's good to know.
but for me, make sure you hit that option. And when you're talking about a third of the world, that's where you need to go. But you want to make sure you want to communicate it in the right way. And
Yeah.
so that English model is awesome. So guys, if you want to check it out, there's a link in the description. Chantel will put it in the comments. You can go and do a free check. Just you could try any of the languages. If you speak another language, it would be great to you use that language. Like see how that is in another language, and it's going to freak you out because of what we're doing. We're trying to keep the voices of the people in the video, and then two, it doesn't matter if
Mhm.
you have like 100 different voices in it. It's going to understand which voice is which, and to be able to actually do it. So you can do it now. My whole thing. It's like my goal is to do multi-language video because I know that's where YouTube's wanting to go with this. And that's the direction that we're going. And imagine this one day that you can actually do a brand deal in Japan and they can actually get that, right? So it's just like very localized and you can do that. I think that's on the roadmap. That's where it's going. And I can't wait to have everybody do it. And then two, just expanding the audience is really important. And so that's why we're all in when it comes to localizing your content. And so
Yeah.
I do want to switch gears though, and you mentioned this with VidSummit, and you talked about how you thought of the industry, and then when you left, how you thought of the industry. And I want to talk about this because um, I don't think people get it if they've never went. And so when you
Yeah.
started on YouTube and you thought this is what the industry is, versus after VidSummit. Would you just take everybody through that? Because I really think this is important for people to understand contextually.
Yeah. So before it was like, okay, I just have this little channel and I'm like all by myself. Like I never had interactions with other creators. It was me and just another friend that is also doing like comedy skits and stuff. But it was just me. Um when I went to Vit Summit and I saw other creators like what they were doing, what they were talking about, and their content creation strategies and their business models and all of those things. I'm like, this is limitless. Like I can like grows so much if I do this right. If I learn what they know, I can take this to the next level. It's not just me in my room just editing this. Like this can be bigger than that, and that opened like changed my mindset. I had a like it was right here. It was like a limit, and then after VidSummit, I was like, this is I can go to the moon with this. Like there's a lot of potential.
Yeah, I the whole reason why I started this Vid Summit was I wanted to help my friends who are content creators realize that they're thinking too small and they need to
Hmm.
see themselves not as a YouTuber, but a media company. And when you're like a media entertainment company, you look at things different. I think YouTuber back when I started VidSummit like 12 years ago, it's just like people are like, oh no, do you make money on YouTube? Instead of thinking, oh no, like literally the next trillionaires and multi-billionaires are going to be influencers, right? So it's like really understanding that and then opening the doors of saying, look, there's very smart people that's doing it, but they're not doing it by themselves. They have teams,
Hmm.
they have assembled teams, they have people that just focus in on the data side, they just focus in ideation, they just focus in on brand deals or whatever, and then you're able to have a bigger idea. But I think what it did for you was, oh, I'm thinking too small, and I want
Yeah.
to go big. And so for me, that's what I love. And you actually achieved what VidSummit is like our goal is to always do is just like we want people to think bigger. We want people to impact more. And that's where it's at.
Yeah.
So we have VidSummit coming up. It's going to be in Dallas again, October 7th through the 9th. And I would encourage you guys to be there in person. This is our year. We got some really big news that's going to be hitting, but it's going to be big. And what I love about VidSummit is it's a reunion of sorts. People, if you've been to VidSummit, put it in the comments that you've been. But it's like a reunion of sorts, where people that are on Discord or online finally get to connect in person. I like Chantel just actually put a link in there for VidSummit, but like I never met Chantel until this last VidSummit. It's just like I've known her online. I've communicated with her so much, whether it was on Nick Nimmons, live streams or whatever, and I'm like I never even met her, and it was just so lovely just to get to see her. And then too, there's so many different people that have transform their business because of the connections that's there. So I
Hmm.
love it. I love it so much. So if you've been to VidSummit, put it in there. Put what you love about VidSummit. That's great. So I want to kind of switch gears and go over one last thing, and then you open to take questions from the people here. Are you cool with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So 2025, you say you're going to take a new approach to this. You're going all in. Could you just, without giving us your insider secrets or anything like that, like what is your plan? How are you tackling this, and how are you processing how to build your media company?
So, my main one of my main focus this year is long form. I want to take like I said, the stories that I'm doing on shorts. I want to make it into a long, like long form and do both. I
Yep.
think that's the future of my channel. Do long form and also shorts, and the shorts can be like little ads for my long form because I can connect the long form to that short, and it's just a longer version of that short. Um, Also, yeah, the multi language thing is also what I want to do this year. Is a really because in this world of AI, anything is possible.
Yep.
Like there's no limits to what you can do. Um, I was speaking to one of my friends the other day, and I said I wanna like take this like internationally, and he said like why you already have 6 million, like what else do you want? Like I want to go as far as I can. I want to grow as big as I can because like back in the day we didn't have all of these tools that we have right now. Like why
Yep.
limit myself when we can grow? We can take our comedy, take our happiness to different parts of the world. Like why not? You're being selfish. Like you only want to keep yourself to the Spanish audience. Like no, just take it around the world. Another thing that is another focus on mine this year is the I have a an animated channel because I'm gonna get old and like time is rough. So I'm gonna get old, and I want to make sure I preserve those characters. And what better way to do it than just to make them animated. I try to keep my channel like I try to keep my characters as animated as possible. That's why I always put the saturation a little bit higher. That way I look like a
Yep.
cartoon.
Yep.
Because that's where I want to go, and eventually, this can grow to like a show, like Netflix or something.
Yep.
So yeah, those are my main things this year that I want to really want to do.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And I think there's so much. We talked about another thing that you need to do, which is developing your own IP, your own look on that too.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
piggybacking off of some Nintendo stuff is fine. But if you
Hmm.
really want to treat yourself as a media company, you need to have your own licensing. You have to be able to
Yeah.
own that whole thing. And even though it's parody and it could be, whatever, you can't merchandise it. It's like the moment that
Hmm.
you start merchandising it, then you're actually breaking the law. And so at the end of
Yeah.
the day, it's like, can you actually do that? And I think you can say, okay, here's something that's inspired by, and you have your own vein. I think that's fine. But it's like developing your own characters that are just standalone, that they get it, and then they can really expand from there, which is great. And then we
Yeah.
we talked about
Yeah.
that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the most important question, and I would say the first question for you, and then I'll open it up to everybody else. If you have a question, put it in the comments right now. But knowing what you know now, if you were to kind of go back in time when you were kind of stuck and trying to figure things out, and you could give yourself advice, what would that be? What does that actually look like?
Um, just know your audience. That's just like try to create an avatar. I would tell myself like know your audience. That to me that's the main thing. That's what took me from plateauing to actually growing. Because like I said, if you don't know who you're targeting, you're not. It's like trying to speak to like to my wife, example, without giving her a gift, without knowing what she likes. So some like I would give her something that I like instead, and then she's like, eh, and then walk away. So,
That wouldn't work out
so
very well, would
knowing what
it?
knowing what they actually want, it's like, hey, this is what you really wanted. Here you
Yeah.
go, and they're all excited opening that gift. So just know your audience.
And just for I won't say redundancy, but I think just amplifying your point. How would you get to know your audience even more? Like, what would you do? What advice would you give yourself? How they can learn to know their audience?
Mhm. Yeah, so YouTube gives you a lot of really good analytics. You can look through there and just look through the countries that they're watching, check the age, um, and yeah, just create an avatar based on that. Also, look around and see if there's a person that you know in real life that you can create your avatar based off. Like for example, me, it was my son. I
Mm,
took my son and I created an avatar based on him because that's who I want to target. So I started watching what he was watching on YouTube, what he liked, what he when he got on YouTube, like what he was clicking on, what he enjoyed, what he was clicking off, because that's also really important with what they were not doing, and their schedule. And then I took that, and my main audience is coming from Mexico, so I had to like take that schedule and put it into like the Mexico time zone. And yeah, that's what I did, and
yeah.
it worked.
No, I love that, and I want to further amplify this. So there's some great some great opportunities here for people to truly understand. Because I
Mhm.
think this is like the key to succeed, right? Which is this: when you start really trying to understand the viewer, relate it to a person that you know. It gives you context because I mean you live with your son,
Mhm.
so you're like kind of his day to day, but he's not in Mexico. You just got to figure out, okay, what would their day be like in Mexico,
Mhm.
if that's the case, right? One thing that I always do is use it to give context, but you have to build off the context because even though that you think that you know, it's still an assumption. So many
Mhm.
years ago, I was having this conversation with a really big YouTuber, and they're like saying, no, our age group is this, and this is what we is. We know that that's true, and I'm like, I don't believe you. And they're like, well, that's the which way it is. Like we know our audience. I says, well, I have a gift, and I'm saying that you're thinking that it's older, and they're actually younger, and you're actually going on tour. You're actually doing these meetups, and you're doing these concerts. I want you just to go look at the medium age of the people that are coming in, and I think it's this age. And they're like, no, it's not there. So I go to their concert, and sure enough, it was their second concert. Sure enough, literally 90% of them were that age, and I'm like, okay, that, see, it validates it. And it did because they had a in-person connection, and they
Mhm.
realized, oh, they're viewing me more as an older sister and they're a younger sister. And so I need to have that connection. And so it kind of filled in the details. Guess what happened to their channel? It just it took off. It went higher than ever before because they were actually having it contextually. And then I'm going to share another experience, and this is a really a really cool opportunity for people. But once you start profiling people, because that's all I do is I profile people, I profile viewers, and it becomes like a strength of yours. And so I can go in, and you've seen this, I don't know how many times, in our coaching, I can go in, don't even need to have context. Within just a few seconds, I can understand exactly who the viewer is. But
Mhm.
it can be a superpower for you in the sense of really knowing your audience and how to connect with them. We actually started a new business this year. Won't give in context what it is, but it's like we needed to hire someone, and I'm one of those people that it's the key position. So they're going to be the head of this specific company, and we started to interview them. My question was this: what type of YouTube channels do you watch? And like it has nothing to do with YouTube. The job recommend has nothing to do with YouTube. But why would I ask that? Well, because then I can understand them a little bit more, like of why, right? And then I asked them what hobbies do they have. Like they can give me all the data of what they do professionally, but I want to know their hobbies, and I want to know what YouTube they watch. And the reason why is it gives me more context. So I want to tell you
Mhm.
their hobby first. So they like to fish. Okay. They like outdoors. Okay. But in fishing, they like to fly fish. And I asked them this one follow up question. Do you make your own flies? And they're like, yeah, like, of course I do. Right. So contextually, I understand that. And then I asked them what YouTube channel they watch, and they watch Whistling Diesel. And okay, do you like to see things just get destroyed? Like, is that what you love? Do you love his way that he leads up and destroys something, or he just does the most extreme? And would you ever do it? He was, well, yeah, I'd do it. Why don't you do it? And they're like, well, I just wouldn't do it, because it's like, I like to watch it on YouTube, but whatever. But what that actually told me is this. And this is a pretty interesting question, but you got to have patience to make your own flies. Okay. You have to be
Mm.
dedicated to make your own flies. It's not easy to make your own flies. Like, to have patience and dedications there. And then two, you like things that have step by step. If you don't follow the step by step, then it doesn't necessarily help you succeed. However, that being said, the whistling diesel is, you wish you could do all this other stuff, but your brain doesn't, and so you have a lot of satisfaction in content when things don't go as planned, and you like to see it, but it would cause chaos in your life, and you don't want that in your life. But you like seeing it, but you don't want it in your own life. And so for me, I'm like, okay, this person's perfect because of their job background, but more importantly, how they actually process things, and then two, how they actually find value in content. So for me, I use it as a content play when kids come over to my house and they're my friends, my kids' friends, and I ask them, which YouTubers you like, and they're literally saying, the people that I work with, but it's fun to see them, connect. And then I ask them what their favorite video is, and then they can go off on the videos that they love. It just gives me a lot of context from it. So when you do this can be a
Yeah.
superpower, not only for understanding your viewer, but also understanding your employees, and also
Mhm.
understanding the people that you come in contact with. And if they say, don't ever, ever, ever watch YouTube, then that's okay too. I ask them, well, what do they watch? Because they watch it somewhere, and it could be IG, it could be TikTok, and then I do the same thing because realistically, they are a creature of habit that gives you some context. And for me, I'm known for being the YouTube person, but realistically, I'm a social media guy. Like, I love that. And so for me, I know they might not connect with content the way that I do, and I need to understand how they connect with content and why. And so, okay, tons of value coming from that. So let's hit some questions here, because there's some great questions that came in. There's a couple one right here. Have you ever coached and helped educational channel? Yes, I do that a lot. Most of the ones I do help is educational channels, people that have context on it. You can get more information about what I do in the description below. Okay, let me see if I can get. There's a lot of questions coming out. I want to make sure I go to the top. Okay, Scale Train Station. Is YouTube Store still a place to repurpose TikTok, or has it evolved into its own thing? I'll let you answer that.
Uh, what was the question again? Sorry.
Is YouTube Shorts still a place to repurpose TikTok, or has it evolved into its own thing?
I mean, I post my shorts everywhere. If I, but I'm mainly on YouTube. Like that's my main
Yeah.
focus. Yeah.
So I'll take this. I like to post for the platform. Sometimes what works on TikTok doesn't work on YouTube. What works on YouTube might not work on IG. They have their own algorithms, have their own different audiences. You need to understand the audience of where they're from. But there's not a close second of who pays the most. YouTube pays the most. That's why it's the foundation of everything that I'm doing. Because if for a media company, you go where the money is at, and you build there, and then it's smart move to build your IP and also your presence all across the world. Because you might be able to do a brand deal on TikTok that you don't want to do on YouTube. You might want to do a brand deal on IG that's not necessarily on YouTube. So it's good to grow all around everywhere. Okay, so let me hit another question here. That was a great question, by the way. All right, so could you explain the story arc that is in the YouTube formula: hook, re-engagement, setup, re-engagement, climax? Okay, so here's a great thing. We have this book. He's asking there. What I'm doing is I'm rewriting this book in version 2. And for the people that are on right now, if you don't have the YouTube formula, put it in the comments. Just put it in comments real quick if you don't have the YouTube formula. And Chantel's going to give you a link for a free book. So I'm going to give you a free book. You know, you just got to pay for shipping, but we'll ship this to you. Now, in the YouTube formula, I go over a story arc, and uh, there's only so much I can do in written form. I have a really, really in-depth training where I talk about ABC storylines and really how to re-engage and to set up and how to take people on the journey, which is really amazing. But realistically, I look at it as, can you fulfill on the promise of the title and thumbnail and pull them into your video? That's where the hook is. And after that is the setup. You have to set them up for the video. So you hook them and you set up the video. So what is going to be the video is going to be about, and then how are you going to re-engage them that leads them to that next part and that next part and the next part? Because I think a lot of people, they put content in and then they go way over here, and then 10 minutes later they come back over here and the people are confused because they forgot about what they bought into. And so some people leave. And so it's just more, can you set it up and then can you tease? Can you set it up and can you tease? And I like to have moments that kind of beat up and then hit that climax, which is the moment. And what I look to view as a climax is, what is a shareable moment that they want to share with their friends? That's what I want to do. And then I want to finish that video pretty quick. And so that's kind of what I did there. In Channel Jumpstart, we go way in depth on storytelling and a lot more with my advanced students, which we just did a couple hour training in the Dominican Republic, which is amazing. So anything to add to this that you'd like to, maybe your formula of how you skin a short, what you look for in the hook and the payoff?
Yeah, what I do now, when it comes to made of those series, I usually use the rule of three. I hook them really. I use a really good hook. I show them exactly what the video is going to be about. If it's going to be made of cardboard, I show them something that is made of cardboard, and then I take that and just do three things after that made of cardboard. But I'm also showing like there's something else happening behind that main story that is gonna pay off later. You're gonna know what's gonna happen later.
Yep.
So that all happens within the first 2 to 3 seconds if it's a short, because
Yep.
you wanna catch them like really good in the beginning, and
Yep.
then after that they're gonna find out um, like the whole thing. They're gonna see the whole story coming together at the end. And that's what I do right now for most of my shorts.
Yeah.
The rule of three.
Yeah, and the rule three act. I mean, you're kind of leading it up. I mean, that's kind of how we're
Mm-hmm.
programmed when it comes to content. But
Mm-hmm.
that's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
How do you fight against procrastination? My problem is I'm often at analysis paralysis. So, what do you do to actually take action?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm actually working on this right now. Um, I have to organize myself because sometimes I have so much to do during the day that I paralyze.
Yep.
I don't know what to start doing first. So I had to write down what I'm doing that day, and then organize it by hour, and then just action. Because if you don't do that, you have so much in your mind, in your brain, that it's gonna hard to put everything into a list in your brain. So I just write it down, and that's how I take it from here to the
Yep.
paper and to action.
Yeah, believe it or not, this is something that I'm passionate about. Like I don't like to procrastinate anything. I do procrastinate some things, but it's like a lower priority. And so, what you need is a process. A process will solve procrastination, and if you can live to your process and understand what that process is, then you'll actually fulfill with a lot. So for me,
Hmm.
my process is this. I want to know everything that I need to do during the day, and I prioritize it. So at the beginning of the day, I try to prioritize what do I actually need to get done, and I go, 1 to 10 or whatever tasks that I need to get done, and I put it in the order of importance. And so contextually, if there's something that needs to be done before I can do that other one, then it's going to have a higher priority, right? And then the next thing to do is turn off your freaking phone, put it aside, and get your stuff done.
Yes.
And it's just like lock in, and get stuff done. So if you see my calendar, it is one of the most overwhelming sites that you see if you actually see my personal calendar, because I'm running literally 10 businesses. There's 10 businesses that I have to do. And so it's down to the every 15-minute mark. There's something that's going on. However, I time block. I block in time. Like if you saw my calendar right now, the first thing that I did is I have a new 3-year goal. I activated it, and I'm a goal setter, and I time block, 2 hours, almost 2.5 hours of just my health. I just want to take care of my health. If you notice, if you go look at my VidSummit pictures versus now, I'm like 65, almost 70%, 70 pounds lighter than I was, and I'm on this health journey now. And so I'm exercising. Trying to take care of myself, but it's time blocked. If I don't time block it, it's never a priority.
Mhm.
If I'm out like I was just in New York, and I only lift weights 3 times a week, but my health journey is like every day. I block it out, and I don't care where I'm at. I'm going to do it. And so that's the whole thing: is you got to prioritize what's important to you, but you have to designate time. And then two, don't designate the whole day to get it done. No one can do everything the whole day. What you need to do is say, what can I get done in an hour? And just focus in on that. And if you will time block and of what you've prioritized, you'll get more done by 11 o'clock in the morning than any other person on the planet. Like from my point of view, it
Mhm.
is just amazing. And then you need to know
Yep.
where your genius is at. My genius is in the morning, not in the afternoon, not in the evening. And so if you want my very best, you get it in the morning. Okay. If you want my very worst, you're going to get it like at, 11 o'clock at night. Like my brain shut off. I'm not firing on all cylinders. Right. Unless I'm in event mode, then I don't sleep. I'm just gunned up, ready to go. That's really good question. Here's another one. Um, Pocket cams, what's our did your avatar change at all? Did they start clicking, or they click off on your content like before? How often do you update your avatar?
In the beginning, I didn't have an avatar at all. Like I said, I didn't know who I was targeting. Um, and only recently I started understanding what an avatar is, what my audience is. So I haven't changed it yet, because it's still working. Um, so I'm just gonna give it some time, and if I need to change it, I'll change it. But that's all through data. If my avatar is changing, then yeah.
Yeah. Well, you did know your avatar. But you weren't really giving it a priority. So you knew the people that like tech, and the moment that you went into the entertainment,
Oh
you
yeah, yeah,
knew
yeah,
you
yeah,
knew that at least, and that was the
yeah.
first stage of doing it, and then the second stage was validating from your son. If your son liked it, you knew that your viewer would like it. So you did understand that. Now you're just like hyper fixated because
Mhm.
you're one of my students. I'm like, you're gonna get hyper fixated in one thing. you know and that's great. That's great. But for me, not all content's the same. You can build split audiences. I've seen it happen before. It will stall out your channel. You don't want where people only like certain type of content and they don't like the other type of content. You're trying to understand people that like all your content, and that's the avatar that I look at. But I want to give this, because this is probably a good time for this. I only go after the potential viewer, and I want to tell you why. So there's potential viewer, there's an active viewer, and then there's a core viewer, and then a hardcore viewer. That's kind of my progression of how I see viewers. I like to go after the potential viewer, and the reason why is then I know that I will keep the video true, where they
Mhm.
I'm doing it for the person that is going to see it for the first time. And so I have the parameters of saying, okay, I can't, I have to help them understand, because it's a brand new viewer that's coming on. And then two, it's the widest reaching you possibly can get, right? And then as you get more localized, or I'm sorry, as you get more focused on the type of viewership, then things make sense. But your hardcore viewers will all watch every one of your videos. They're never going to miss. They're going to always comment. Your core viewers are going to watch it if they see it on the homepage or engage, like, oh, I like this person or I like this channel, whatever. Okay, that's happening, right? And if you only focus in on them, then you get into this rut of just only connecting with the people that you're already connected to. And I think that's a disservice for all your content that you're trying to create. What you want to do is bring them in to the group, and then they can say, "Oh, they'll comment, oh, that was great on this," and they'll have context for the new viewer too that's coming on. So that's where I like to focus in as much as possible. Okay, let me. There's another great. Should we take a couple more questions and then call it a stream? Here we
Yeah, yeah, we can
go.
do more.
Okay. Uh, Behavior cast. Okay. So, what action should creators take when a video starts performing above baselines? Okay. First off, you're using language that makes my heart good. Talking about baselines. I love that. And how long should you wait before releasing another video? So, I'll let you.
What I, yeah, what I do is just keep like watching us, because sometimes it goes above and then it comes down, and it can go below. So I want to make sure that it keeps going up, and I'll study the why. Why is doing that? Like like why are they watching this? And I'll study that video, and I'll try to repeat it. I'll try to do it again, um, and see if it does the same thing. If it doesn't, then probably was like a one hit wonder. If it does well again, I'll try to do the same thing and replicate it over and over again until it stops working.
Yeah. So for me, there's two different strategies. There's the long form strategy and there's the short form strategy. I want to talk about the long form strategy. So if I release a video once a week, that's 4 videos that they're getting in a given month, depending on the month, right? And so what I would love to have is a bucket for each week. So I would at least have 4 video type of content. Okay. Now, if a video is happening before, that's happening in a bucket, then I'd want to take some time and let things develop a little bit. So there was a student of mine. He's on here. One of the smarter YouTubers is Bikes and Beards, and Sean had a video that was performing way above the baseline. And it was during Christmas, and it was a really, really good video. Like, it's like banger video. Okay. And he's like, I need to release a video. And I'm like, no, you want to wait. And the reason why is it was climbing. It was still climbing. And I like to see where the traffic's coming from. So this is only long form traffic. Now, I'm telling you, this is a long form traffic strategy. If your traffic's coming from browse feature, you don't want to release another video yet. And the reason why is because YouTube's making a choice what to put on the homepage, and the homepage basically is where that's coming, not the subscription feed. And so you're getting a lot, this huge audience is coming in. And if you're gaining views, you don't want to do it. So YouTube was literally promoting the heck out of Sean's video, and it was just going through the roof. Okay. And I'm like, you want to wait, do not release, because it was keep on going. Now, the moment it started to come back down and started to go, and then suggested started to come up, and was the main traffic source, then I'm like, okay, now you can release a video. And so I like to look at momentum, even though I'm saying be consistent, release every week. There's times that I don't because of that metric. I want to give every opportunity for YouTube to accelerate and gain momentum on a video versus the newest video. Because as soon as I upload that video, YouTube's going to give it the highest priority to promote, because that's what the system is built to do. Okay, it's not going to kill the other video completely, but the views that was going to be given to this one video is now going to give priority to this other video, because YouTube has to choose what to put on the homepage, and it's in its DNA to put in the newest video that you have to give it some legs, and it might die off and then go push this other video again. But I want to give the most chance to this other video, so I wait for that. Hopefully, this is making sense. So Sean did that and was able to come down, and then he released his video right when it was coming down, and it was the fastest video that he ever had to a million views. It just happened. Boom! It was like transformative. And the reason why is because all the people watching this actually had it in their video history, and it was adding to that video history where, oh, they really engaged with it. They had this huge uh, engagement with it where they watched a lot of the video. And so you hit this other one and it brought up that visibility and it just skyrocketed. Now, what you asked is like, when do you know that it's performing baseline? When should you release again? Well, my whole thing is you got to give it enough time to have it breathe. And if you get one and you release it and it's just a banger video and you release it and it does one thing, takes off, it's your most viewed video in 24 hours, 48 hours, and then it kind of dies down, and then you see it get more legs at day 7. I'm like, you probably should start making another video like that, because that's all indicators that that video is going to take off, because it found its audience, and then it found its audience again, and then it went some time and found a new audience at 7 days. You better do it again, because guaranteed around 21 days it's going to pop off. It just will. I've seen it over and over and over again. YouTube will see that audience pop off. That's when you want to start making the video. Now, when I do that at that time, I'm making that video, I know that the next month, because it'll be all close to 30 days, by the time that 21-day traffic starts to pop off, starts coming down, you release that video, then you actually have another one. Now, if this is the second video in the bucket, you should the first video could be the highest performer. The second video might perform really well, or it might be something that just takes off too, depending on that viewing relationship. But the third video, there's not a world, if this is a bucket that works and you're learning from the video number 1 and video number 2 before you make a video number 3. But video number 3 should actually be the biggest video that you should have. Like, it shouldn't even be close, because if they've watched 2, YouTube already knows they watched 2, and then that third one is just gold. Okay. And so that's kind of the way I look at it. I'm very sensitive. All my students know this. I'm very sensitive of where the traffic's coming from and how they're watching video. If they're watching it from the device type, I want to know, is it TV? Is it mobile? Is it computer? Is it tablet? And when I understand where that's at, and they're watching it from the homepage, and I know that they're engaging, but then it has a kick and a leg, I'm going to start doubling down on that content, tripling down on that content. And then it's just the timing of it. So if I'm releasing weekly, it's like I'm going to have 4 buckets that work, and then the 5th bucket's my experiment, and that's my content strategy. And I'll phase content out, buckets that might not get as many views. I'll kind of put them aside, let them breathe for a little bit, maybe in 6 months, re-engage them. And it just lifts the channel every single time. How do you, I did the long form. Do you want to do your short form? Like when you see a video that's performing above your baselines, how long do you wait to release another video?
I upload shorts 4 to 5 times a week. So if I see a video that this week did really really well and is experiment and it did well, I'll do it again next week. And if that one does really really well, also, I'll just turn it into a bucket and start creating shorts like that. So I'll wait at least a week to post another one if the first one did really really well.
Yeah. So let me give you my advice. It doesn't matter on shorts. Like shorts is going to do what shorts does. Now the difference would be is you've seen in your data that you release something on shorts and it doesn't take off immediately. You get some viewership and you're like, it's whatever. But there's something magically that happens, at 48 hours, sometimes 7 days into it, where it just, the trajectory is like really big, right? The moment that happens, I'm redoing the video. I'm like literally trying to figure out what to do. Okay. Because shorts is different. It's a feed driven system of how it recommends to the viewer. And they're not really swiping and going deeper as much as just kind of going through their dopamine effect and just kind of going from there. But the moment that I know that it takes off, that's great. Now, the difference would be when I would release a video for shorts is when it starts to go down. So in your case, you have a video that's just your number 1 most viewed video in the next 48 hours and 60 minutes, right? You just know that's what it is, just getting a ton of views. But the moment that it starts to go down and another video starts to creep up above, that's the moment that I start creating content for the video that goes down, because it's going to go back up again. A good short has there's no life expectancy on video content. I want everyone to realize that. And so
Mhm.
YouTube will use this, go and find an audience, and then pause, or keep on, giving it to that audience. But then it's going to expand to a new audience, and if it finds a new audience, then it's going to do it. That's because it pulls videos to viewers, doesn't push videos for creators, and so it's just like pulling for viewers all the time. And so the moment that I see that happen, that's when I'm literally doing that. And then two, if there's ever a video, and you've had this happen, I don't know how many times, that's just an older video that just pops off, and it is your number one video in the real time. That's when I'm like, we better start adding to it because it seems to really be going. But realistically,
Yep.
you could release a video every day, just kind of what he's done, or 5 times a week or whatever, and it'll be okay. However, what he said at the beginning of this video, of this live stream, is you don't want to get exhausted doing the same things, and you need to diversify. And when you diversify, when something in your bucket just pops off, all the videos in your bucket pops off, because like YouTube knows how to recommend it, but you can only go so much down that rabbit hole before you get exhausted. And so you need to have multiple rabbit holes. That's why we have multiple
Mhm.
buckets. Anything else to
Yeah.
say to him on that? Okay, here's the next one. Playing the mom game. That's actually a really good YouTube channel. I like that. Do you always suggest planning out or scripting videos with that formula, the hook, setup, payoff? Is there any exceptions? What would you do? Do you script
So,
everything out for you?
yeah, yeah. I have to script. I can't do it without a script. I For me it works to write it down. I know some people do it on their phone, on a tablet, but to me it's always to write it down. That's just me because I'm old school. But yeah, always write down, because if you want to add, you can add to what's already uh like on paper. Because if
Yep.
you try to improvise it, it's not gonna work. I've done it and it doesn't work.
Yeah. I would say, um, if you sound like a robot scripted, don't script it. If you sound
Yeah, that's
natural and
true.
real, then do it. I
Yeah.
I would at least want to know the journey of the viewer in bullet
Hmm.
points. Like,
Yeah.
what do you want to achieve in each bullet point? There are some channels that are reactive type of content, but you still have to tell a story, and you have to understand where it's at.
Mhm.
And so it just depends on the type of content you're creating. So I would say at least know how each of the segments going to be in bullet form. And if you need to script, well, this would be really cool if this came out as a sub bullet. I would do it that way. I gave this example on the last live stream, but I'll do it again. But uh, Mr. Beast, we were shooting a video, and he was with other YouTubers, and the other YouTubers were just chatting, and they're missing what was going on. It was like the most valuable thing that they could ever see, which was he was trying to envision how the video was, and realized what they planned would not work. And he was looking at how he needed to do it. He literally was stalled out, and he was like focused in, and no one saw what was going on. I was like yelling at some of the people. I'm like, dude, like, are you missing what's going on? He's literally editing in his head right now. This is the magic that you never see. This is the magic they never talk about. He's trying to visualizing how it would look, and he's like, no, it's disconnected. It's not going to work. And that's where you're not seeing the value. And so for me, I like to plan it out, but I also want to give me the freedom to adjust. How I adjust though is always film what I planned out. I always film it, regardless if it's not going to work or not. And then I do
Hmm.
the variations, and that way you have optionality when it comes to the edit. So,
Yeah.
all right. Let me go through this one. Here we go. Looking to start a new channel covering a completely different topic. What is your current thought process on launching a new channel? One video, 5 videos, etc. Like, if you had to start a new channel, which you've done a couple times now, what would you do?
Um, Me, when I start a new channel, I try to like test first with shorts, and then I'll go into the long form. That's what I did for my kids channel, and it worked really really well. Um, because like you said, shorts can catapult your channel, and grow it a little bit faster. And then it also works as like an exercise, You if you've never done social media before, if you've never created content before, that could be a good practice.
Yep.
But and since it's only like short, you can practice multiple times a week or a month, without putting so much time into a long form and then upload it and then getting demotivated because it didn't work.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what I would do.
So for me, it depends, Gabe, of where you're at. And if you already have an audience and they're loyal, then I would do a totally different approach of just starting fresh. So starting fresh, I'll give you that because I'm actually getting ready to launch a new YouTube channel because I want one of those small gold play buttons. I don't have one yet, so I want one of those small ones. The process that I go through is I want to understand who my audience is and create content for them and create videos. So I'll create videos that will never see the light of day, not even once. But I'll show it to people, get their reaction, and see, is it actually fulfilling with, is it bringing the value, and can I do that consistently? Okay, once I understand what that is, then I'm going to get 2 months worth of content. Gonna get it done. I'm not even going to do one video. I'm going to do, generally 8 videos, and then I'm ready to launch the channel. And generally, if I don't have an audience, I like to release a video, not multiple videos. And the reason why is if I don't currently have an audience, then it doesn't matter what I do. Okay. But I'm going to release it on day one, and day two, I'm going to release the next video. Now you might say, well, why would you do that? Well, the reason why is I don't have an audience yet. And so I know that day one and day two have videos. And then I'm going to give it like a little bit of time, let YouTube do its thing. And YouTube's going to promote, and YouTube's going to see that it loves new channels, and it's going to go get me an option. And the videos are going to be seen. There'll be different audiences. YouTube will do it at different times. It's not going to catastrophically hurt me because I have 2 videos there. YouTube's just going to go see where that's at. Now, if I want to wait 48 hours or 72 hours to release, I'll do that too. However, that being said, I'm more apt to do it either in the same day or by 12 or 24 hours, depending on where it's at, and just get it out there. And then let YouTube do its thing for about 7 days. Then after that, I'm going to release consistently for 2 months. I'm going to just hit it. And I've already planned out my content strategy. I understand the value that it is. I'm going to just let YouTube go and find. When someone goes and sees, oh, new channel, they do it and they go deeper, my content's already interwoven where they want to go deeper. They already, when they get to video number 1, I'm like, hey, I made this video for number 2. And then 3 is going back to 2. So it's like, I'm always building off of that where they're going to watch multiple videos. Okay. And so that's what I do. Now, if I had a new channel that I had an old audience, and I might have some people that would love to see that channel, I would do this. I would create the channel. I would say make a kind of a promo video so they know where it's at, and then I'd upload 2 shorts. And the reason why I do that is because I want to monetize. You have to monetize. Have to have 3 videos. It doesn't matter if you already have 1,000 subscribers and whatever. I want to monetize as quickly as I can. And so that way it's kind of promo, whatever, and they can see what's going on. And then I'll launch the first main video. And with that first main video, I will literally launch the second one. If I won't do it one a week, I'll do it another push, and I'll do it sometime during that week, or I'll upload 2 videos at a time and have them go to back to back. It depends on how long the videos are. So if they're like an hour, I'd probably only do 1. If they're like 12 minutes, I'd probably do 2. And that's the way I would do it. Now, Matt Pat was saying he did 5 videos, but he was taking an audience that loved game theory and was going to do food theory. And so he wanted to have them binge watch something. And that works really well, but you have to have a built-in audience for that would actually love that type of content. So that's a really great question. Here is one of our favorite people of all time, Hopescope. I had no idea you were doing tech reviews first. So Hope's like, she's like, okay, what an impressive pivot. Yeah, she was doing leggings review. So good. Okay, let's hit another one, and then I want to give away some VidSummit tickets. How does that sound?
Nice.
All right. Okay, Project Equestrian, would you ever do a video outside of one of these buckets? Like if you have your buckets, do you ever do a video outside of the buckets?
Yeah, those are my experiments. Every time I want to experiment, I obviously have to go outside of my buckets to do that. But I always research before doing that. I want to make sure that is something that it works. Um, or if it's something that I really want to do that my audience is doing, like I'll do it, but not all the time because I don't want to mess up my what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm doing that right now. I have a few experiments that I wanna do on my channel, experimental videos.
Yep.
If they do good, they'll turn into a bucket. If not, then I'll just crap it and never post that again.
Yeah, and I when I do an experimental bucket, I do 3 videos. I already planned 3 videos. I try to make them
Mhm.
the best possible. I don't get discouraged if the first one doesn't go, but if the third one doesn't hit, I'll move on. But there's been times that the third video hit, but it was like 120 days later, 6 months later, whatever, and then it lifts everything up, and then I know that the bucket works because it lifts all the videos up. So for me, I need to give it three
Yeah,
videos, and I know that's a pretty big risk in some of your ways, but it's not if you do it right. And that's where you have other buckets, and it's just an experiment. You're not doing a back to back to back. You're not even doing it the back to back. You're just doing it like every fourth video or every fifth video. So
yeah,
really, really good. Okay, so let me for those that are on, we're going to take a couple more questions, but we're going to give away some VidSummit tickets. So before we do that, I'm going to just play a quick video about VidSummit. Just kind of get some energy into it, and then we're gonna pick some winners coming to this year's VidSummit. And I'm going to take one other question. So let's go ahead and do that. Maybe. Well, it's not going to my scene that I. So, what do you think, man? You going to VidSummit this year?
Sweet. Yes, I am going. Not gonna miss it for the world.
Yeah,
So good.
it is good. I love it. And so this is happening October 7th through the 9th. You can go to vidsummit.com, get your ticket. But I'm going to give a few out real quick. And so if your name is picked, I just did it randomly from there. And you're going to need to send me a tweet, a DM on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, or reach out to Chantel, who's on the stream here, would be fine. So the first one that wins, let me go ahead and do it here. Congrats on this. Travel with Clem. You are coming to VidSummit. Really excited. You're the first one to post this, so I'm gonna take a screenshot of this so my team knows that you'll be reaching out. What I want you to do is either DM me on IG, Facebook, or Twitter, and we'll get you a Twitter, I guess X now. We'll get you taken care of for sure. The next one is Busted Classic Garage. You are coming VidSummit. You're getting a in-person ticket. This is not transferable, guys. Like, you have to come. You have to be willing to come for this. This is really, really big. This year is going to be epic. It's going to be our biggest year yet. There's a lot of great opportunity there. And then I will do another one. The last one is Diane Dobson, Barton Art. You are coming to VidSummit. Real excited to have you come. VidSummit is remarkable. I'm not gonna lie. I love it so much. Not just because I created it, but the people that attend make it everything. The people that are willing to give on stage make it all worth it. And what I want to tell you, the culture of VidSummit, just so you understand, we want positivity. We want people to see this as an opportunity. We don't want toxic Teds or negative Nellies there. What we want is people that see this as a huge opportunity and are willing to give as much as they receive. And so that's kind of the formula of VidSummit. And this is great. We're going to be giving out a lot of tickets this year. Just keep in mind, you know, this is an event that sells out. We actually sold, like, it was hard to get a hotel because we sold out all the hotels. So you want to make sure you get your hotel as fast as you can this year. We're already sold out of 2 hotels. We haven't even got going yet. Promotion starts like now, and we're going to really start pushing it. So you want to get your hotel stay. If you can't afford a hotel, like, there's a lot of people that are going that you can share a room with. Come with different people. That's always better than going by yourself. But keep in mind, if you go by yourself, we're a big family, and we connect. We definitely do. So, but yeah, we got some great people. Like, congrats, such a great conference, 10 out of 10. Thank you, Andrea. That's super awesome. Okay, so one last thing, and I do appreciate you taking this. I think I want to give the best advice last, and then we'll call it. Now, your son came to you and says, "Dad, I want to start my own YouTube channel." How did you set him up to succeed? Because he's accomplishing something now that most kids would just dream of. And so, would you just take just a minute on how do you approach it as a parent, and then what did you do to really help him understand without just doing it for him?
What I'm doing for him right now is something I wish someone would have done for me in the beginning. With this knowledge that I have right now, thanks to VidSummit, thanks to Channel Jumpstart, I'm just taking all of that information and implementing all of that into his channel, but also keeping in mind what he wants to do. Not just pushing him to do, hey, I do skits and I do this, so you have to do characters and all that. No, he wants to do streaming, video games and all of that. So I'm actually in his room right now. This is his setup. Um, so I'm really supporting him. If in the future he wants to do something else, then of course I'll be here for him. Um, but just showing him that it's gonna take a lot of work. It's not just something that you can have fun. This is really fun, but you have to also do it right. and I'm just here for him. I can't wait to see what he accomplishes.
Yeah, I think it's like there's something about trying to do it for the first time and knowing what's important, what's not
Hmm.
important, and
Yeah.
that's the whole reason why I wrote the book. And if you don't have a copy of it, put it in there. Chantel will get you a copy of the book. It's only the physical book. We have quite a few physical books. We sell a lot, and we got some that we want to give out because we just want to be useful with the books that we have. Version 2 will come out sometime this year. But we want you to at least experience that. So if you want a free book, put it in there. Chantel will send it to you. You just have to pay for shipping. Um, the key to this though is like finding someone that can help you. And you've been a part of my group coaching, and it's something that I'm passionate about. And I'm just getting ready to start a new cohort of Channel Jumpstart. So if anybody that wants interest in that, find that in the description below. It's a Channel Jumpstart. You can kind of request some time, and we can go ahead and connect. And we're just getting ready to start the group probably in less than a month. We only have a few seats left, so you want to definitely get that. Now, with like you've been a part of my group coaching. Is there like let's get it from you. Like, what can people expect when they come into Channel Jumpstart?
Channel Jumpstart in the beginning is I didn't know what to expect, but just be open to learn. There's a lot of people that are willing to help you, especially if you have like a group coach. They're willing to answer any question that you might have, and if you're lost, they're there to help you out in everything. Uh, yeah, if you have any question about the channel, like there are no dumb questions. You just uh, make as many questions as you want, and that'll help you grow your channel a little bit better. It's like a family, like you said. Once a jump starter, always a jump starter, and is just a big family of content creators trying to achieve better things, and it's just great. I
Yeah,
love it.
we got new people that don't have channels to people that have 50 million, 60
Hmm.
million, subscribers. It's just like it's one of
Yeah.
these great communities. But the thing for me though is you're going to come learn the system. Like I'm painstakingly want to make sure you understand the system so that we can actually have real conversations. Like the conversations we're having here is great, but it's another level when everyone understands the same type of terminology and the way that the process of, and we can go from there. So if you're interested, it's starting this next month. Go ahead, put in the link is in the description. I'm here to tell you it is one of the most rewarding thing for me in what I do is because I'm able to see success so much, and it's just because people are willing to give there too. Even though that it's my system, they might learn something that they're contributing to help out, and that's why we do what we do. And so, really, I wanted to thank you so much for doing this. Really do appreciate it. And you've been generous with your time. We went well over 2 hours, but just want to thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming on. And I want to just thank everybody else. I'm more active this year. There's multiple reasons why I'm doing it. It's like we're the Chosen's now at a stage where it is what it is. We're coming out with season 5, and so I can put a little bit more time here on Saturdays, and I'll be doing more frequent live streams. And so if you like that, put it in the comments that you're liking these live streams, and we'll continue more with it. So, guys, thank you so much for coming on this interview, this live stream, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.